What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. Here to give our instant reaction to the Ravens Packers game. Another tough one here. But of course, if you're new to the show, I'm James Haskell, along with my co host Glenn Martin, and DK is in the background running the show as always. And obviously, people are hyped about this game, or emotional about this game, I guess I should say, opinionated about this game, because we already got some super chats. Keep them rolling in. We already got a ton of chats here. So we're going to talk about the entire game, but let's just get to Phil's super chat right off the bat, because it's been in here for a while. Is that cool?
Yeah, got to. Absolutely. And I certainly agree with the beginning part when he says props to Tyler Huntley. He did way better than I thought he could. That was the second time we could have went to overtime, but chose to go for two. We don't need to go for two every time. It's so frustrating. And so I kind of heard as I was jumping in here, you were on talking to DK, and I'm sure you guys were sharing your thoughts. You haven't heard mine yet because I was a little late. So first of all, let's start with the very first part, and then I want to address the second part. Tyler freaking Huntley went out there, Jimbo, and he balled out there today, boy. I mean, look, bummed out about the loss, but just have to take a second and show a little excitement for what Tyler Huntley was able to accomplish.
100%. And my only disagreement here is that, I mean, I'm certainly even surprised by Tyler, but what I'm not surprised about is his poise and his ability to play sound, simple football. What I mean by that is like open man, throw the ball. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything complicated, right? He saw his read and he hit the guy. And to me, that was the difference in today's game. And even the difference, I'm not trying to start a quarterback controversy, but I'm done with being bullied by the folks that are just Lamar lovers and not Ravens fans. Okay, let's say it like it is. Lamar Jackson has not been playing like Lamar Jackson even before the injury. Not saying he's not incredible. Lamar Jackson is very much the franchise of this, the face of this franchise. However, he has a thing or two to learn from Tyler Huntley. Namely, you can play simple football. You don't need to fall in love with the big play. I know that we thought maybe it was a confidence thing, all these other things. Look, Tyler, didn't matter whose name was on the back of the jersey. If he was open and that was his read, he was hitting the ball. I mean, he was letting the ball go. Simple, sound football. It's exactly what they play at the University of Utah. That's what they preach. That's how they win games. It's why they're in the Rose Bowl. Lamar needs to get back to simple, sound football. So, anyway, I'm kind of on a tangent here.
I agree with most of that. I don't know if I necessarily agree. It didn't matter what name was on the back of the jersey. I think that mattered a little bit when you
Sure, but Prochet got involved. Wallace got involved. No way Tylan Wallace is getting a pass with Lamar Jackson on the field. Very doubtful that Prochet is getting a pass with Lamar Jackson on the field.
Right, but I mean, the criticism was that Lamar looked too much at 5 and 89, and if you look at the stats, 89 had 13 targets, 5 had 14.
But let me ask you about this really quickly.
Okay.
This is the thing. Is there – I think this is funny because there's no way – I said this, DK. There's no way the defenses all of a sudden are playing Marquise Brown differently because Tyler Huntley's the quarterback.
Right.
The underneath stuff was there all day. We saw one drive. It was pretty much all that. There was like four plays where it was like a 4 to 7 yard pickup on the underneath stuff because they had to play off of Marquise.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we do that on a regular basis? Like, I know that we do that. I'm not saying Lamar never does it, but certainly we don't force the defense to change by putting the pressure on them and doing that. Anyway, we can talk about that later.
Okay.
But
I want to get into the second part because he says, that's the second time we chose to go for two instead of overtime. We don't need to go for two every time. It's so frustrating. And, I was on here last time and I was defending the Ravens going for two. I thought it was the right move, the right play, put the ball in Lamar's hands. You got 2 yards to win it or lose it. And I liked the play. This time, not so much, Jimbo. And here's why. First of all, you're now the home team. Before you were the road team, and statistically, the home team has the advantage in overtime. So, for that regard, reason, I would like the Ravens to have kicked that. The other thing is, in the Steelers game, I didn't have a ton of confidence that we could replicate that and move the ball down the field. Well, this game, it didn't seem like it was a problem moving the ball down the field. I mean, we had pretty much every drive we were able to move the ball and get first downs, and there were some very, very long sustained drives throughout the game, the longest of which ended up going for nothing because we decided to go from fourth down on inside the 5. So that's another reason why I didn't love it. The other thing is, we clearly had the better kicking game. And not that Mason Crosby's a bad kicker, but he has, 9 missed field goals on the year.
Their
When's
entire
the last
special
time?
teams is a dumpster fire. They had 3
Yeah.
huge mishaps in this game. That's not even including their guy that's missed 9 field goals.
Exactly. And when's the last time do you think Mason Crosby's kicked a 40-yard field goal in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Has he ever? I mean, so there was a lot of reasons. And then I literally called the play call before the play started to everyone in the room and said they're going to roll him out to the right. If it's not there, run it. If it is there. And I don't like that at all. First of all, you cut off half the field when you do that. For Tyler Huntley, who's been spreading the ball, I mean, it's been going to a lot of the same targets, but it's all parts of the field is what I was liking from what I was seeing. So now you're cutting off the side of the field. Then they decide to target Mark Andrews as the main guy. Everyone and their brother knew Mark Andrews was getting the ball. I would like to draw some up maybe for a Bateman right there. Maybe go for a guy who maybe they're not keying on with their entire defense.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of reasons why I didn't love that. But having said all of that, if we would have gotten it, I would have been obviously very happy.
Sure, absolutely. And I agree with you. I hated the call for all the reasons you mentioned. Also, they were talking about it, the commentators, difference between like purely analytics and momentum. Okay, so we went all the way down the field. We scored a touchdown, right? We're down by 1. We kick a field goal. We go into assuming we go into overtime. Obviously, Rodgers still has like 47 or
42 seconds left with a timeout, A-Rod.
Certainly a problem. But at the end of the day, say we go into overtime, right? At the very least, in the worst case scenario, we make them work for it. And we at least, the defense has some momentum in that they had the stop late in the 4th.
Yeah.
Right? So they've done it recently. It wasn't a first quarter stop. This was,
a big time stop. Yeah.
And just in recent memory. So you have some momentum there, and the offense has momentum. So worst case scenario, they get the ball. You do your very best to get a stop. But at the very least, you make them work for it. And if they get a field goal with Crosby, if they have to settle for a field goal, like you said, our offense just marched down the field. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a big fan of the call either. And then on top of that, I said this to DK before we started the show. Glenn, I want to ask you a question. This is a total guess here. How many yards do you think Latavius Murray was averaging today per carry?
Oh, he looked pretty good. I'd say 5.
7.
Yeah, the guy, that was one of my notes.
You got to gain how many yards on a 2-point conversion?
Yeah. No, I mean,
you know what I mean? I would have liked to see that. Just get fit. We are the Baltimore Ravens. Like, that's a big part of our identity.
Yeah.
And then that play right there, last thing here, it makes me think of like, everyone loves the fade on the, in the corner fade in the end. So I'm not a big fan of the play because I swear it doesn't work 75% of the time. Like in theory, it's great.
Well, if you got a guy that can make it happen, or DeAndre
but even
Hopkins
still,
type,
it's got to be a perfect pass. His feet have got to get in bounds. You know
Good
what I mean?
Release.
There's so many things that have got to go right, and it looks beautiful when it works. But I swear to you, the ball hits the dirt more times than they catch it. Maybe that's just my eyes, but that's what that play felt like to me. They put Andrews in the corner of the end zone, the small spot. Put him in the middle of the field, give him an opportunity to box somebody out, use his body, go up and high point it, something. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and the offensive line was doing a good job for the most part of giving Tyler time. So, I mean, if you keep him in the pocket, it's hard to guard guys in such a small area for a long period of time when you only need a small window when you're this level to squeeze one in there. I disagreed with the call as well.
And Tyler can put it on a rope. He's got an arm on him.
Look, it's a whole lot to like about what you saw from Tyler Huntley today. It's hard to find anything to dislike. Chase Brown says Hollywood was open on the last play. I'm seeing this come in a few times. Honestly, I didn't exactly notice at the time. I'm not seeing any replays because we come right from the game to here. So you could be right. Did you notice it, Jimbo? Was Hollywood open?
I didn't, and that's the same thing. I mean, I only saw it once, and then the replay. But in the replay, they were just zoomed in on Mark. They weren't even showing the entire field. So, I mean, maybe I'll go back and look at it. But at the end of the day, I don't even think I think Hollywood had zero chance of getting that ball unless it went absolutely ad lib. So unless Lamar Jackson is under center and he has the clout to say, nah, I'm not throwing this to Mark, right? But Huntley is a young kid, unproven. Look, if he's gonna run the play, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, I thought it was a tough because it really had one option and then run it. I wasn't a big fan of that. Laura says if we had gone for the 3-point field goal in the first drive, we would have won. Yeah, I mean, it's
Amen.
certainly at that point, it would look a lot better if we had 3 more points on the board. I thought it was a ballsy call to go because this wasn't that from like the 5-yard line. Like it was,
Yeah, 4 or 5, or maybe even the 6. But yeah, in between the 6 and the 4.
it wasn't like a 4th and goal from the 1.
Mm-mm.
So, but I understood it then. Like he said, look, we can't just come away with 3 points, 3 points. We got to be aggressive. We got to say, look, we need 7. But yeah, in hindsight, it certainly would have been nice to have 3 more points, no doubt.
Yeah, the only thing that I think is interesting is in these scenarios when the Ravens historically, like since Lamar Jackson has been quarterback, and obviously Lamar wasn't even in the game this game, so maybe this is a bad comparison, but we run the ball in close plays, like in crucial plays that are relatively short yardage.
Mm-hmm.
In both 2-point conversions, we've decided to pass the ball. And then even in that play, you're talking about the 4th down, we decided to pass the ball. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. It just makes me think. Sometimes just getting back to basics. All right. And like I said, Latavius Murray's getting everything he wanted tonight.
no doubt. No
I mean,
doubt. I mean, the offensive line, despite, which by the way, we're going to get into it. I mean, this list of between COVID and injuries.
It's just getting sickening. Can I say something about the offensive line that's also positive?
Yeah.
Did Ben Cleveland look way more mobile to you tonight than he did even at the beginning of the season, like when we went to training camp? He looked mobile to me.
Well, I tell you, the run game, it's hard to not point to Ben Cleveland as having a big responsibility for the improvements of the run game. Sure. I mean, there's just, who else do you point to? Because you lose Tyree Phillips. McCary isn't out there. You got a guy in there named Sharp on the at right tackle. I don't even know who the hell Sharp is.
Better than Phillips.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you Sharp's first name, Jimmy, and all we do is talk Ravens. I'm being honest. I'm being
straight up,
here.
Dude. Straight up. I mean, yeah, I tweeted out $5 to anyone that could name the corners that played in the first half. I mean, one person tried to submit it and they said Geno Stone as a corner.
No, the only reason I know the corners is because I was checking Twitter heading into that game.
Yeah, exactly.
And looking at the names. But yeah, I mean, and then you lose Tavon early in the game to a concussion, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I mean, holy smokes! Who would have thought you're down to Averett as a guy that's a familiar name in the secondary?
He's your subject matter expert.
That's
right?
it.
Like Anthony Averett, and then it's just a steep drop off. Man, let's see. Tone the Virgo says, message to Harbaugh. It's okay to get your head out of analytics every so often. By the way, if you're going to go for 2 to win the game, don't run the same predictable play that you ran 2 weeks ago and didn't work. So we kind of talked about a lot of this, but we can readdress it. Yeah. One, I think that there needs to be a balance between analytics, what your eyes show you, and momentum. I think that John's equation is a little skewed right now. And it's a work in progress. He's obviously not perfect. I know that DK was very against the 4th down play with like 12 minutes left in the game. We were on our own 28. He hated that. So
I mean, look, here's the thing that bugs me the most about the last play, right? Like we talked about, didn't you say this was like a kitchen sink type game? Like this is a game you need to win.
Yep.
So if you got a 2-point conversion, you go to G-Row, you know what? We need 2 yards. This might save our season, G-Row. We need 2 yards to maybe get us into this playoffs. What you got for us, G-Row? And he comes out with 1 receiver on the right side of the field. He cuts off the entire left side of the field by rolling his quarterback out to the right. And he throws it to the most obvious target on the field in Mark Andrews, who already has 2 touchdowns and is our best red zone threat. Yeah. I just don't love that. That's your vault.
Yeah. So that's the thing.
We defend these guys, Jim.
Yeah, because Greg Roman definitely, in a loss, deserves credit in that he was coaching his butt off in the first half and through a lot of these drives. I mean, the plays that he was drawing up looked good. They were relatively creative. They were obviously well executed by players. But that play, if I'm Greg Roman and I know me, my vault is full of run plays. Now, pass plays are not my expertise. We saw Marquise Brown and Rashad Bateman run into each other again. Like, my vault is not full of pass plays, dude. You got 2 yards?
I mean,
let's pull out our best run play. Get behind the big boys up front. Yeah. And then you live with it. You just live with it, right? Like,
yeah. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. No doubt about it. Phil says, what did the refs take before the game? Terrible calls all around, and that's an understatement.
2 touchdowns where there were critical plays gifted to the Packers by the
interference on the out route. Come on. I thought the whole spirit of, does it affect the play? The bottom line is, When the ball was coming to him, nobody was touching him. The ball hit him dead in his hands, and the dude boofed it. He straight dropped it. So it didn't affect the play. Now, look, he tugged him a little bit, Jimbo. So at the same time, I was kind of it was frustrating because if you look at it, he did tug him a little bit. I thought it was a bit of a touch call. And again, didn't affect the play. Ball was still right in his hands. He dropped it. But the Adafe Owe penalty had me a little fired up at Adafe. I mean, look, you don't push him. You don't push him like that with that much time in between. And look, it must have pissed Harbaugh off because I think he found himself in the doghouse after that one.
Yeah, that made me mad for a few reasons. I'm also tired of these statuesque, old, gray-haired, grizzled quarterbacks taking advantage of the fact that they're relatively geriatric and folding like a cheap 10 every time they get touched. Yeah. Like Ben Roethlisberger's a master of this. Tom Brady falls on his butt and kicks his leg up like he got a wave took him out from underneath and he's on the edge of the beach. Every time somebody goes, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's getting tiring. Like, at what point are we going to start penalizing these guys for? Yeah, like, dude, come on. Yeah, I'll never forget. Drew Brees said once in a press conference, Glenn, for roughing the passer penalty. This was a few years ago when the Niners sacked him to win the game. Then they called the penalty to keep the drive alive. I knew it was a penalty because of how hard I got hit. What? And it's only gotten worse since then.
How hard you got hit.
Right. Like, it's so anyway, I agree with you. I mean, obviously Adafe can't do that. But at the same time, it's like, Aaron.
He sold it. Yeah, he sold it.
Come on, dude.
But you know what pissed me off even more than that was I hate the gamesmanship. People can tell me you're trying, if you ain't cheating, the quick snap before Justin Houston could get off the field, and then the challenge to it's like,
did you see Johnny?
That's not football. That's not football. I mean, that's clown stuff right there. And it reminded me.
Same thing. Oh, go ahead.
It reminded me a couple nights ago when I was watching the Warriors play, and who was it that pulled? It was Marcus Smart. Notorious dirty player. He goes up and pulls Steph into him and flops on the ground and gets Steph fouled out of the game at the very end of the game.
Yeah,
it's like I don't like the cheat. I don't like the quick snap.
Win that way. It's the same thing. Like when a lot of you guys, Harden, Chris Paul, they'll hook their arm underneath you. And then it's like, dude, get out of here.
Play the game. That ain't part of the game.
Right. It's not. Yeah. There's nothing natural about it. Right. So yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, it was ridiculous. Let's see what Tanja Bowman says. Are we going to act like we didn't see the play calling different for Tyler versus Lamar? Where was the run ball, then throw, then Lamar run? Tanja, I'm a little confused, but I think overall what you're trying to say is that the play calling seemed different for Tyler. Certainly they're different quarterback. I mean, they're different players and Tyler has less experience in the offense, but I'm trying to, do you understand what Tanja's getting at here?
I think that what she's saying is, or he is saying, I'm sorry, is
she, right?
No, I think it's a he. Yeah. I think we made that mistake early. And was corrected. But I think what Tanja's saying is that it felt different. The offense felt different. Was it the play? And I think Tanja's saying it was the play calling that was different. To me, it was just that he was so on schedule. I mean, Tyler was just drop back, boom, drop back, boom. But he threw in some improvised stuff as well. He threw in a lot of nice, improvised moves with the legs. He picked up some big first downs with his feet. I just think Tyler was playing confidently and playing within the system. I don't necessarily think that.
What you just said, Glenn. I want you to repeat that last part.
He was
playing within the system.
Yeah.
I love Lamar Jackson to death. I love him. But any great quarterback has to play within the system, right?
Like, you sprinkle in both. You do the off-schedule stuff. You do the improvisation, but you don't throw away the easy stuff and the on-schedule stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to take what the defense is giving you. And, yeah, certainly.
I don't think Greg Roman is just a horrible play caller when Lamar's playing and a great play caller all of a sudden because Tyler's under that. I don't think.
Let's not forget Lamar's had historic numbers under Greg Roman.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't necessarily blame. Now there is still head scratching. We talked about. I mean, the 2-point conversion play call. What?
Yeah.
But there's still head scratchers for both whenever either one are in. The simple route combinations in big time situations. Certain things are bad, but then he does have. I mean, you got to give him a little bit of credit. You got to give this whole coaching staff a little bit of credit. Did anyone think that the Ravens were going to be in the? I mean, most people other than Jimmy were picking the Ravens to lose this game.
Oh, so, I'm so excited to come on and be like, bam!
I know, right? And rub it all in our faces. So, I mean, shout out to this coaching staff for making this such a ball game. And the players, obviously always deserve the most credit.
For sure.
Little X Nation says Packers still only need a field goal to win. Bad call. And that's another part that makes it kind of a silly 2-point conversion attempt in that they were still 42 seconds left and A-Rod had a timeout. So even if you get the 2-point, so you basically, when you decide you're going to go for 2, you're opening the door to lose in 2 different avenues. Now we can lose by not getting the 2, or we can lose if we do get it, he can still get the field goal. You know what I mean? Like it's so you allowed 2 avenues to lose instead of just 1. If you kick the extra point, now there's only 1 avenue. Well, they can go down and get the field goal. I mean, so I agree. I think the fact that there was still time for him to win, even if you succeed on the 2-pointer, made it more the reason to kick the field goal.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's see here. Ravens O's Nation. Sorry, I'm gonna be salty. Before I read the rest of this, be salty, baby. Yeah. This is the place to be salty. Trust me. I'm a salt lick. I have so much. I mean, it's just bad. I'm as salty as it gets. So don't you worry. Screw the Packers, and I look forward to when you choke against Brady at home. Brady again at home. Frustrating game. I'm here for it, Ravens O's Nation. I totally get it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. However, I don't know who I like less between the 2 gentlemen. That is Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. So look, at today, I like Aaron Rodgers a lot less. Ask me tomorrow, my answer might change.
Yeah, I think because he's in the NFC. They're both in the NFC. I mean, it's hard to. We don't see him too often, but but yeah, I mean, I'm salty too. I'm pissed off. I mean, I was shocked to see. I'll tell you one thing.
Packers.
Tell you one thing. John's got a pair. He's got a pair on him, Jimbo. He's got a bag on him, Jimbo. I mean, this guy just keeps going for it. I mean, this guy's like, yeah, I know. I'm gonna get criticized if I don't get this. Go for it anyway. Do it anyway. Like he's got some balls on him.
Yeah.
It doesn't always lead to good, but he shoots
a shot, right? You miss all the shots you don't take.
He's not influenced by the pressures of the media or the fan base.
That was a quote from Michael Scott, who quoted Wayne Gretzky.
There you go. The great one. Phil says the fact that Rodgers begged for Matt LaFleur to challenge for a penalty be called is ridiculous. I don't think you can do that. Is that a thing? Well, I mean, you can always ask your coach to throw the challenge flag. Just usually the coach doesn't really care what you have to say unless you're Aaron Rodgers, who I think is older than his head coach. And I'm pretty sure
he's not, but he looks older.
Okay. He definitely looks older.
Looks older. Boy, he's not aging like wine.
No. Well, football, you take a beating. Unless you're Tom Brady, because Tom Brady looks...
The thinning hair and growing it out, not a good combination.
Not a good look?
Nah.
I'll tell you what, Tom Brady looks better now than the day he got drafted, and it's not even close.
Well, he'll look like that till the day he dies. That's the thing. I mean, his face is just always going to look that way. And I'm excited to see what celebrities, if you open up their caskets in 100 years and their faces just...
It's the same. That's sick to laugh at, but you're right. I never did think about that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of you see it a ton of times where people are asking their coach to throw their flag, and usually they just get ignored because they either want to save it or they just don't. Most players always think they, deserve. But in this case, he was right. Although I think it was extremely petty and a punk move.
Sounds like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's probably the pettiest of all petty, and most athletes are petty. So, anyway, Tone the Virgo says Troy Aikman made a good point. Some team that needs a quarterback will be looking closely at, no doubt. I mean, Tyler Huntley's at least working his way up to be able to have a competition for a starting job.
Yeah, the Broncos are out there.
Future. Yeah, I mean, the guy is just incredibly poised, man.
To Teddy Bridgewater as well. That's scary.
Yeah,
injury.
We've had there's been a tough
nasty
couple injuries. Yeah, I mean, that Cowboys game. Yeah, with Chargers game with Parham.
Yeah.
That was one of the weirdest. It was a delayed knockout. He hits his head, rolls over, grabs his head, and then he does the rigor mortis season thing. And even when he's going to cart off the field, he was
still shaking, dude.
Oh, it was so scary looking. And then you got to play a game if you're his teammates. You got to just keep playing.
You see the Steelers tight end that
got
clipped, and he was frozen upward, and then got nailed. Oh, jeez. He's just standing there like a sitting duck and goo.
And then I think Shepard from the Giants tore his Achilles today, man.
Oof, jeez whiz. Yeah.
Bad injuries, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, I mean, great point, Tone. I don't honestly, because it's not the offseason, I'm not really up to date on it. I don't know. He's still under contract for
one more year, I think, after this.
So yeah, anyway, that'll be interesting to see. Tavon Nelson says, a frustrating loss. Even with Lamar, I don't know that our secondary is good enough to hold up for a playoff run. Love the squad, but being real. And I can understand that point 100%. And this is why, like, no knock on Lamar, but how much more could we get out of the offense? Maybe, I mean, I guess Lamar ticks us over the top, right? Because he's better than Tyler Huntley. I'm not too stupid to admit that. But like the offense was run very well tonight is my point. Yeah. And like I was tweeting about it as well. Like Rodgers was playing with our secondary, like Scar from Lion King plays with the little mouse before he eats it, and he like
toying with him.
That's all it was. I mean, that's all it was. It was just
I mean, some of those windows weren't even. I mean, some of them were wide open. There was a few to Marquez Valdez-Scantling where he was just wide open. I mean, it was bad. And same with Devontae Adams, where he just left the guy off the line. But then there was other plays where the window was small. I mean, there was one to where Chris Board was all over the guy, arm in the pocket,
dude,
and he still caught him.
Yeah. Is there any way? So say we get Jimmy back, and I really feel for Jimmy Smith right now because he's got a newborn daughter and he's got COVID.
Yeah, he can't be with his family.
Yeah, that's got to be really tough right now. So hopefully everything's going well there, and his daughter doesn't contract it. But certainly, so you got Jimmy coming back, you got Clark coming back,
yeah,
Tavon coming back. Is there someone else I'm missing? I mean, there's a lot of guys I'm missing, but
a lot of guys we're missing.
Yeah, exactly. So do you think that that's enough to answer the question, to disagree with Tavon Nelson's point, is I guess what I'm saying?
I think that there's some reason to be hopeful, but here's the thing. If you're going to lose a game, this was the one you wanted to lose because it's an NFC opponent. So if you're going to lose one, this is the one. Now, if you don't beat Cincinnati and you don't beat Pittsburgh, at the very least, even if you lose to the Rams, another NFC team, you got a shot if you beat those two divisional opponents. So it gets you to 10 wins and then see what happens. Might get into the wild card. Who knows? Maybe Cincinnati takes a stumble and you can sneak in. But if you don't beat Cincinnati next week, you talk about a must win. This is a must win of all must wins next week. Got to beat Cincinnati, no doubt about it. And if you can get those corners back and they are able to get out there next week, maybe, just maybe, they can get it done. I think there's a chance. But my question to you is, Jimmy, is there any hesitation to rush, like to not just say, you know what, Lamar, we're not going to rush you? Because 30 points, I mean, you think about 30 points, one drive was shut down at the 4-yard line. The offense was extremely successful under Tyler Huntley. So what is the urgency to rush back Lamar? Like, the offense to me wasn't the problem tonight.
Yeah. So one thing I heard, I don't know if you guys heard as well. I heard that it's a bone bruise, not a sprained ankle.
Yeah, bone bruise on the heel.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I'm glad he didn't say bone spurs.
Yeah, that's surgery usually.
Yeah. So anyway, that's going to be interesting, right? Like, I don't know if that makes the timeline shorter or longer in comparison to sprain.
It's all about how long it takes to heal those bruises, right?
Yeah, and it's based on the fact that it's not a ligament thing. Then at some point, does it become a pain tolerance thing? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right,
like with a turned ankle, you got to stretch ligament, this, that, and the other.
And how do you evaluate the healing? Like you can on a ligament,
right? And like also, I didn't see tonight. Was he in a boot? Because how else do you keep pressure off the heel? Because every time you walk.
I think if he was in a boot, we'd have seen it about 13 times.
That's true. TV. Yeah, I didn't see the boot. Anyway, we heard. I hate it, man. If we had to take shots every time we heard about Aaron Rodgers' toe.
I know his toe looks fine. I mean, you guys out there running. It showed no ill effects from the toe.
Nasty, greasy.
I think we already talked about
looking like Aikman George McFly. Comment. Golly day.
He looked like a retired John Wick now. I mean, with that gray, he looked like 60-year-old John Wick out there. But Ashified Gaming says this playoff picture is starting to scare me because The
Wait, but
only
I didn't answer
thing.
your question though.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't want to lose my train of thought here. So I think Lamar has to be back.
Has to be.
Has to be. We have to have this game. You got at the end of the day.
But
you
he
got
had 287 and 4 touchdowns.
I know, but at the end of the day,
no turnovers.
Don't you think Lamar Jackson is better than Tyler Huntley?
I do, but could you guarantee me that if Lamar was healthy and starting, he'd have 287 yards and 4 touchdowns today?
No, but if I had to bet on who would have a better chance of having those numbers, I would bet on Lamar Jackson.
Now, what if you have your choice of a fully healthy and practiced Tyler Huntley or a Friday walkthrough Lamar Jackson?
Gosh, that is a tough one, Glenn.
Because there's I just can't see how unless he practices all week.
Right.
Then it's a different story. But if you're telling me he's hobbled and he's not going to practice till Friday's walkthrough,
right?
Look, he had 287 and 4 touchdowns and no turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can you ask for?
You're right. You're right. It's just
it doesn't sound right saying it, but
that's a tough one. So I guess it really comes down to, because I would agree with you, if Lamar doesn't practice all week and then he's able to play on Sunday, I don't like that idea. Right.
Yeah, it's just a weird time right now. I mean, it's just, who would ever thought we would ever even have a discussion about this? But
so that's where your line is then. Like, you feel confident that if Lamar isn't practicing all week, even if he just does walkthroughs on Friday, you're like, okay, I would rather go with Tyler. That's where your line is. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where mine is.
Because I want him healthy. If this means by sitting him this week that he'll be 100%, next week, I'd rather have a healthy practice Lamar Jackson than a hobbled one. And if it's hobbled, then I'll take Tyler fully healthy. It's just, it's hard for me to point to, because we didn't have the fumbling issues.
But do you dress Lamar then?
No.
Because what if Tyler just starts imploding?
Now, if he's dressed, he's playing. Well, if Tyler implodes, then we're going to have to see Josh Johnson.
Oh, gosh.
Which we definitely don't want to see that. No. But either way, it's
I didn't mean to cut you off. I just didn't want to miss my train of thought before.
No,
it's interesting. I've got to establish my line because I don't know where it is yet. Like,
it's hard to because we love Lamar.
Yeah.
Whew. It's hard to even it feels like blasphemy even discussing this. It feels
weird.
Like I'm saying wrong things. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it feels wrong. Ashify Gaming says this playoff picture is starting to scare me because the only thing keeping us afloat is the head-to-head tiebreakers on the wild card teams. But that's the reason why you should feel a little confidence, because you're right. They got a tiebreaker over the Chargers, and they got a tiebreaker over the Indianapolis Colts. Those are two huge tiebreakers if it comes down to.
And the Chiefs, if something, we don't know all that's going to happen there.
Doesn't hurt. Right. Absolutely. But, yeah, I think that it just anything can happen, man. But next week's such a big week, man. But if they could have stole this game, which is weird to think a home game is a steal, but they could have stole this game, man. It would have been big, no doubt about it.
Oh my gosh, stop it right now. Trade Lamar and take away Harb's decision making. Huntley is our guy. Stop it, Ramuels, Sam Page. Stop it. Just stop it, my man. Like, no, like, okay, I understand the discussion between a hobbled Lamar and a healthy Tyler, but if they're both healthy, you're talking about, at the best. I mean, I love Tyler Huntley, but Lamar Jackson is rare air.
Yeah.
Like, what else? Lamar Jackson is an incredible football player. So he's a once in a generation type guy. No, I mean, and take away Harb's decision making. Also, no. What did I agree with his decision making tonight? No, but Harbaugh, I put my faith in him over 95% of coaches in the NFL. So, it's tough. It's easy to bash the team and the team's coaches that you watch every week, but go watch the decision make. Look at Vic Fangio today. Look at his clock management today, because it was garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm saying is that it's easy to bash our guys, but just
it's okay to bash our guys.
Yeah, it's fine.
Let's not replace them unless you have an obvious better choice, which I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better choice out there. Be More Tony says, great fight. Andrew's worth every penny.
I lost over under in the first quarter.
Dude, Mark Andrews is a flat out monster. First of all, that wasn't an easy touchdown catch, the diving catch. I mean,
neither of them were easy, to be honest. But yeah, that diving was incredible.
The guy's an absolute animal. He says Tyler took what the defense gave him. We need our next 2 division games to get in since he still has the Chiefs. 100% agree with you, B. Mortoni. These are big, big games.
Yes.
And I want to go back a little bit to what he said about Andrews and kind of highlight something that just is amazing to me. Both Andrews and Marquise Brown both had 10 catches. They both equaled 10 catches, exactly even. Marquise Brown had 43 yards. Andrews had 136.
Yeah.
That's a big problem to me. I get, and I like that they took advantage of some of the underneath stuff and the fact that they were playing Andrews so off. But damn, Marquise, can we get some yak? We talked about him all.
Did you see him run into the corner and fall? Poor guy.
Dude, we've been hyping him up. Yeah, but we've been hyping him up. How he's been playing bigger. He's been getting 10 catches for 43 yards, 4 yards a catch as a big time receiver.
But you know what I do think? Happens? I'm hopeful happens when Lamar comes back is that he goes for that short stuff. You lull him to sleep. Catch him biting one time. Yeah, and then you see his those yards. I mean, obviously would double, right, on one play. So, and maybe Tyler didn't do that quite today, but certainly that's something that Lamar. It's funny because Tyler needs to learn a thing or two from Lamar. Lamar needs to learn a thing or two from Tyler. Like, it's weird how that works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So definitely interesting. Alex Goldvarg, just a shout out. Love 410 Sports Talk. Thanks for the content. Thank you, Alex. Comments like that keep us going.
Oh, and by the way, now that he said that, I got to pull up another comment. Did you see we got a message from, I think it was from Dave earlier. Oh, it's driving me crazy. I'm not going to be able to find it. It was about the hoodie. That was Dave, right?
Yeah, we got him. We surprised you, Dave.
Oh man, we surprised him and he sent a really nice message back. I can't find it right now. It's bumming me out, but yeah, you got him. You got him, Jimbo.
Hey, look, Santa Claus, he might exist. Just saying. Look, kids, there he is right there. Dave Cutzell. Glad you enjoyed it, man. This is what we do it for. Like, the more our show continues to grow, the more and more we want to give and support. We're a team and a community here. I love that we have this community that didn't exist before. So grateful for you guys and certainly hope you enjoy it. A small token. So Coast Boy T says, hopefully we can at least beat Cincy and Pittsburgh. It'll be a tight race all the way to last week. The Bengals have 2 tough games after us. Amen to all of that. We will be at that Pittsburgh game and it is going to be fire.
Cannot wait.
Fire. We got to set up a tailgate this time.
Oh, yeah. I want to see. Yeah, absolutely. And I want to see 410 Sports Talk Nation out there. If you guys are going to the game, we will make sure you know where we're going to be because we got to meet up, have a adult beverage. Well, I will. Jimmy will drive me home safely.
I'm not an adult yet, so
you got to be at least this tall to be able to drink alcoholic beverages.
Wait, I'm about that tall.
Okay, yeah, you're about that tall. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, absolutely. Coast Boy, 100% agree. They got tough games, so it's still got a chance.
Yep, absolutely.
And Billy says that Huntley threw the ball 40 times. When has Lamar gotten 40 dropbacks? Well, I mean, if I look it up, I'm sure he's had quite a few games where he's had 40 dropbacks this year.
And for sure, Lamar takes off more than Huntley.
Yeah, so a lot of his scheduled passes turn into runs. His called passes turn into scramble runs. So, I mean, I don't know. I think more of the criticism is that we ask him to throw it a little too much sometimes and not trying to establish the run and things like that. But I think that Ben Cleveland being up there in the middle of that offensive line really made a big difference. And I don't care if Powers comes back healthy or not. There's just no way you can deny the amount of, there was success on the ground. I mean, Latavius Murray goes 7 for 48. Freeman goes 6 for 22. So not the best day for Freeman, but Latavius Murray was eating him up on the inside. Absolutely eating him up.
And that's exactly where it was. The outside stuff certainly was not there today. Not, at least not that I can recall. But Latavius Murray up the gut was it was reminiscent of what we thought. Well, it was what we thought it was going to be when he came to the Ravens, right? Like a replacement for a Gus Edwards type runner.
Yep. Yeah, he looked healthy. He looked fast. And you know what? We got to give a little bit of a shout out to a guy we've criticized a lot today.
Who's that?
I mean, this year, Pat Queen, man. He had 13 total tackles, including
11
solo tackles, Jimbo. That's got to be a high for him this year.
I still got a bone to pick.
All right, let's hear it.
Man, when you get my crosshairs, it's a problem. No, you're right. He played physical, played fast, played everywhere. But did you see in the red zone the short pass to the left to Mercedes Lewis? He wanted nothing nothing to do with that man. That
Mercedes
was
a
a
big boy.
piss poor effort of a tackle. He didn't even half-heartedly try. He just quarter-heartedly tried to make that tackle. I mean, he just did it.
Quarter-heartedly.
Yeah, that way he could say, hey, coach, I tried. Like, he just checked the box. You see what I'm saying?
You.
Like,
Yeah.
he had no intention of taking that man down. Like, none.
Okay. All right.
That he had an excellent game, but that lit me on fire. Just frustrated the heck out of me. In the red zone, you got to knock him out of bounds. You got to hit him. You got to do more than what you did, Pat.
Yeah, I agree. But look, 11 solo tackles got to be a high this season for him in a single game. But yeah, we'll see how he continues to grow. But Adam 78, okay, James, I know you're such a big fan of LJ, but say if a trade offer was to come up, he'd be worth 3 first-round picks, and Huntley could be signed for half of what Lamar's going to cost. Jimmy, this was directed to you, so I'll let you answer.
Yeah, look, I've said it before on the show, and I love this quote. Jerry Buss has said before, 5 nickels doesn't always equal a quarter, right? Draft picks are not guaranteed hits, even in the first round. The Ravens can testify of that. Look, guys, I love Marquise Brown, but Marquise Brown was the first wide receiver taken off the board in that draft before DK Metcalf, before Scary Terry. Like, they're not AJ Brown. Like, in your heart of hearts, you wouldn't rather have any of 3 of those guys for Marquise Brown. My point is that nothing is for sure coming out of the draft. It's a crapshoot. So all 3 of those picks could be nothing, right? And even at their best, none of them, it's very unlikely that they will duplicate the impact that Lamar Jackson has on this football team. So no. I mean, I wouldn't take the offer. I mean, at all. If you're giving me 3 picks and we got to ride with Huntley, I love Huntley. Like, if anything, I'm biased. Like, I have a bias that towards Tyler Huntley because, we're alumni. But no, I'm not making this move at all. I mean, I'm laughing at this and not even answering the GM that sends it to me. Lamar Jackson's a generational player. I'm not giving him up for 3 picks who I don't even know who they are.
Now I'm going to continue to put a little fuel in this flame. So let me ask you something here, Jimmy. Say this week Lamar's still not able to go, and Huntley duplicates or even bests this performance.
I can't believe you're doing this.
Any change? I'm just asking. Any change?
No, because look, it's the same reason
trying to
why
set you up so bad.
It's the same reason why John did it right when he didn't put Flacco in the game. Why would you do that for the health? At
least now you could blame it on the heel.
Sure, but if Lamar knows he's healthy,
okay. Oh, even if John's like blaming on the heel or at the end of the season.
If Lamar knows he's healthy and he wants to be out there,
yeah.
If him and John have had a talk like, hey, we're just going to shelf you till next year. And Lamar's like, all right, I'll go get in shape, do my thing, whatever. Like, if we're out of it. But we're not in that scenario. We're fighting for our playoff lives here. And once you get in it, who knows what'll happen. No, Lamar Jackson is.
And I'd certainly like to have 8.
Yeah, it's just better.
And Romwell Sampage says if Lamar was 190, a touchdown, and 2 picks, you would make every excuse for him in the world.
No!
Arbs cost the team 4 points today, and you're coddling him. Well,
Wait a second. What show are you watching?
Yeah, I mean, we criticized Harb's decision big time to go for it on 2 at the end. So I'm not sure really exactly.
It was a terrible decision, but that doesn't mean that all the other decisions. Look, can I say something, Glenn? Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling the Holy Ghost. I think I caught it today. All right. So this is the thing. When you're in a relationship with someone, it's and when you get in an argument, right? Mm-hmm. It's very easy to get microscopic and say, and just keep referring to this bad decision, right, that this person made. But what about all of the other good decisions in all of the other situations that person was in? Like, does that just go to crap? Is that how this works? John Harbaugh made a bad decision. Historically, John Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the NFL, one of the best coaches in the playoffs, one of the best coaches on the road, one of the best culture builders, one of the best organization builders, one of the best builders of a coaching staff. No, I'm not coddling him. It was a dumb call. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And then also, I'm pretty sure I've been telling Lamar Jackson this whole show he needs to learn from Tyler Huntley. I'm not making excuses for Lamar Jackson. He needs to play better and stop falling in love with the deep stuff. And you said it, Glenn. Play within the system. That's all I got to say.
Wow. Okay. Whew. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the 2-point conversion. I didn't like it. I don't know. I didn't like him going for it early from the 4 or 5, but I understood why. I understood the theory behind it. Like, we need touchdowns, not field goals. But I didn't love it either. But I still like John Harbaugh, and I still am happy he's the coach here, and I don't think he'll be going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. No.
Dr. Ganja says, in quotes, "Hey, we don't think our potential franchise quarterback is worth a long-term contract. Will you give us 3 first-rounders for him?" End quote. Laugh my ass off. People don't use their brains. So he's saying that, look, we couldn't get someone to give us 3 1s for him, is basically what he's saying.
Because it would mean that we don't believe him. So why should they?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't think what they're not saying that we're going to go shop him as in, hey, you want Lamar for 3 1s? Hey, you want Lamar for 3 1s? I think they're saying, he's saying that those fans are saying we're going to get overwhelmed with a team coming to us asking for that. You know, I mean, I don't think it's even possible. I don't think all this is purely hypothetical.
It's just Madden stuff.
And really, we haven't seen a big enough sample size from Tyler Huntley to make any type of a judgment on what type of player he'll be in the long run. All we know for sure right now we know for sure he's a hell of a backup.
Yep. And
he's a backup that, if needed, you could count on him for 3 or 4 games, and he can put up points for you. That's what we know for right now. What we may learn more if this injury lingers on and we see a bigger sample size. But right now, all we know is he's a great backup.
Yeah, absolutely. Glenn, should we get to our competition?
We do a competition. Oh, yeah, that's right. I almost forgot.
I know, we're 47 minutes in. My bad.
Yeah, but before we get to our competition, I mean, don't we have to talk about our partners? I mean,
absolutely.
Did I say something about the Lions? Did I tell y'all to buy stock in the Detroit Lions? What'd they do today, Jimbo?
Yeah, they won, man. And I tell you what, they're rallying around their coach, especially even with their tight end going out for the rest of the season. And he's their number one. Yeah, he's really their number one receiver.
And the running back Swift's been out.
Yeah, I mean, rallying around coach, biting people's kneecaps off. So buy in, guys. If you guys don't know, our partner and this show that makes it all possible, Symbol, you can use the link below, use the promo code 410. And what you can do is so Symbol, first of all, it's the stock market for sports. We've said it before. You can buy stocks of teams, buy low. Like Glenn said, we're catching a trend with the Detroit Lions and know it's going to pay off in the future. So you can do that. Also, you get paid every week per win. So you get like a dividend. You get paid their win earnings. So every week per share, you get a certain amount of money per win. So it's very easy to make immediate money and then also long-term money. At the end of the day, you actually make money, which is quite the contrary for 99% of folks in sports gambling. Guys, there's a reason why all these like MGM, Caesar, FanDuel, they can pay people gobs and gobs and gobs of money. It's because they take yours.
Yeah.
It's just
go to Symbol and get some of their money. Yeah. That's all we're saying.
Right. Make your money grow.
Get some. I'm telling y'all, I shouldn't be saying it so much because I should just be gobbling it all up myself.
You should.
And Phil, I get it. It's certainly opposite of conventional wisdom to suggest to buy stock in the Detroit Lions. This is not something you would normally say, but you cannot deny that they are rallying around that coach. And right now, Jared Goff looks like he's good enough to win. They are loaded with picks, including the number 1 overall pick right now. And unless they go on a serious run, they're going to be locked in. Well, actually, I guess they don't need to go on that much of a run here. They might be in jeopardy of losing their number 1 overall pick to the Jaguars, who I think are just nosediving. But either way, they're stock full of picks when they did the Matthew Stafford trade. If they believe in Goff, they can surround. Anyway, look, buy Lions stock. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you. And then at the end of the day, if you want, you can buy. There's two strategies, of course. If you want a long-term play, outside of just trends, you can get game earnings. So buy in on the Ravens, who are going to win 10 games most likely for the foreseeable future. Buy the Bucks, buy the Packers, for goodness gracious, whatever. But the point is, you put your money in, you let it sit there, it's going to grow. So you got it in the bank, it's doing nothing. You got it in Robinhood. Let's be honest, you don't know what you're doing in Robinhood. So if you know sports, go check it out. So go check it out and invest in what you know. Make some money. Promo code 410. Symbol is the spot. But let's get into our competition and wrap this baby up, because I got to put baby to bed.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get into this competition. Every week we have an over-under competition, followed by a series of closest to the pin questions, and we use those to narrow down a show winner and a fan winner. So quickly, let's go over our show results.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. I mean, it's just getting old, Jimmy. It's getting real freaking old.
Are we gonna have to scrap the internal competition for next year?
No, we can't, because I got some get backs to get done, and I got payback. But DK won it again. The only one I got right. Hold on. What was our average yards per play? You mean we didn't hit 5.5? Damn, it felt like we did.
That was the only one I got right?
The only one you got right. So, all right, quickly to go over what those over-unders were. The first of which was Mark Andrews' receiving yards. We set it at 74.5. He shattered that, going over 1,000 yards. So, shout out to Mark Andrews for going over 1,000 yards and showing out once again. Me and DK got that one correct, and apparently that's where my streak ended. Moving on to the next one, Ravens yards per play, 5.55 was the over-under. Me and DK both went over. Jimmy says under, and he wins as the Ravens just achieved 5.3 per play. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, Ravens sacks was the next of the over-unders, set it at 2.5. They barely get over with 3, and that is where DK separated himself in our show competition.
By a fingernail.
As the only one to correctly predict that one. And then finally, Ravens total tackles, set it at 65.5. All of us say over, and they fall just shy at 63. I like that one. That was quite inventive, DK, so shout out. So that's how DK won. But let's get to our final.
You're not going to let DK, you're just going to try and.
Go ahead, put the results up. Put the damn results up.
All right, Glenn, I want to see some dance moves over there, dude.
What do I have to dance about?
You're under 40%, bro.
It's bad, man. It's bad, man.
I'm going to have to stop calling you for Ravens advice.
You know what? I'm about to go on a run. I'm going to end it strong and be nipping on the heels by the end of the year. All right, let's move on from
really
this.
Quickly, though, before we get into that, I saw a message from Phil asking how you take part in the competition. Simply watching the preview show, our live show, and you'll see our over-under in there. We'll give you the categories. And all you have to do is leave a comment, not a chat, but after the video is posted, leave a comment giving your answers. Yeah. Or any social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, DM us your answers. We check them all. DK checks them all. Let's be honest. And then he gives us our results winner. So we're going to get to that right now. Glenn, do you have our results winner for the evening?
I do. So shout out to our newest fan winner is Sean Pisker, who entered his competition predictions on YouTube underneath the comments there after our live was over. So shout out to Sean Pisker, the champion. He got 3 of the 4 over-unders correct. Didn't even need to go to the tiebreaker. He was the only one to achieve such results and destroyed even everyone on the show, including DK, even fell victim to Sean Pisker and his predictions. So shout out. So the next step for you, Sean, is simply DM us or comment. Actually, DM us. Don't comment because you don't want to give your address to everyone. Yeah. So DM us on any of those 3 social media platforms with your size and your address, and boom, one will show up in the mail.
That's right. And if for some weird reason you don't have any of those social media platforms, on our YouTube page in the About section, you can find our email. So you can email us directly if that works easier for you, Sean. Some people, I'm
pretty sure he's on Facebook with me. So,
okay, cool. I just want to make sure because I wasn't a social media guy before the show. So, want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to submit their answers. But yeah, man, a lot to talk about. I mean, I feel like there's still a lot of meat on the bone. So certainly this week we're going to be getting to it even more.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be breaking it down, talking about the upcoming game, but not only that, storylines after this game, what happens next. So much to get into this week. We're going to end it here, but we got to get some shout outs, right, Glenn?
Yeah, got to. Heather McCubans. This is the first time I've seen your name. Appreciate you coming out, Heather. Hope you continue to show up for our lives and watch our recorded shows. Lisa Ann, appreciate your continued support. Always looking out. Prince Quan, thanks for again coming out with us. Yes, shout out to Sean for the win. Nubian Sage, still not thrilled with Coach, and he wants to hold open tryouts. I think he might show up to those open tryouts, and we'll see what we got here. Flock Nation, yeah, I tend to agree with you on that one, Flock. I think that Harbs should have probably kicked it at the end there. Francisco Davis, appreciate you coming out. Tanja Bowman, been riding with us from the beginning. Appreciate your continued support. Rue McNeil, thanks for coming out and commenting. Dave Cutsale, thanks again for the kind messages and always supporting you from you and your significant other. Ramwell Sampage, thanks for coming out and commenting. Thanks for the super chat. Certainly appreciate your participation. Anyone I missed, I'm sorry.
Yeah, all those that sent in your super chats, thank you so much.
Phil, absolutely. Phil sent in a ton. Thank you. And I look forward to you participating in next week's challenge. Thank you, guys, and we will see you next time.
You ready for this?